Welcome, fellow humans. Today I want to talk about doing the opposite of medical advice, because sometimes I've made improvements in my life by thinking about the advice that I've been given and why it's supposed to be helpful, and realizing that it's a good reason for me to do the exact opposite. Because sometimes I'm not the typical person, and the reason for doing it doesn't apply well to me. A big example of this is that in order to improve a person's sleep, you're supposed to sleep without a visible clock present. And the idea behind this is apparently that if you wake up in the middle of the night and you see what time it is, then your brain will start getting more active and thinking about how much time you have left to sleep, and it'll wake you up more and it's hard to fall back asleep. And if you have that reaction, which I assume most people do, the advice seems to be pretty widespread and comes from reputable sources, then that makes sense. You probably should not have a visible clock. But I had noticed that I sleep a lot better when I have a visible clock, and I thought about the reason for the advice, and I don't really understand why that is the typical response, because if I wake up in the middle of the night and I don't see a clock, then I start to wonder, what time is it? How much time do I have? Is it worth going back to sleep? But if I do see a visible clock, I see the time and I can either go, oh, I should just go back to sleep, or I can go, oh, I need to wake up in 10 minutes anyway, it's not really worth going back to sleep. But if that's the case, it isn't worth going back to sleep. And I had noticed that if I have something I need to wake up for the next day, it is actually really helpful for me to see a visible timepiece that I have slept better in the periods of my life when I had that visible clock. Another big issue I've had where I found benefit to doing the exact opposite of typical advice is the idea that you shouldn't go grocery shopping while hungry. And I do get the idea. The idea is that you don't want to spend too much money and that you'll have more impulse buys. And that's reasonable. But I have problems with wanting to eat food and wanting to try new foods because I don't really like food. And so it occurred to me that it would be a decent idea to try grocery shopping while hungry, specifically because of the reasons people tell you not to. And when I did do that, I found I was much more open to trying new foods, and I was willing to go, yeah, I don't really know how to prepare that vegetable, but I can look it up, and things like that. And it helped to broaden my diet. So thinking about the reason you're not supposed to do something can be really helpful if you're weird. Sure, most people might benefit from doing it the other way, but maybe there's a reason why you should do it the exact opposite. So when I do listen to advice, I always try to pay attention to why something is supposed to work, because sometimes I will take the advice and follow it and go, oh yeah, this really does help me. It turns out that doing the exact thing that is supposed to help me helps me. There's certainly a lot of basic healthcare where I seem to work exactly the way you'd expect me to, and I probably won't talk about that because it's all pretty boring. But sometimes, I'm not going to fit into the standard mold, and so I need to be open to doing something different, and sometimes that's the exact opposite. So that's what I do, and I think other people should be open to thinking about it, because you might be different in some ways too. Sometimes the standard doesn't fit you, and sometimes the exact opposite is right. Anyway, that's my story, and if you liked it, please click like, and if you like more similar content, then subscribe. If you know someone who might find it interesting, please share. But most of all, if you have any questions or thoughts or experiences, I wouldn't be surprised if some of you out there might do the exact opposite in some ways yourself and find that it helps you. Then I'd love to read your comments. Thank you.